They wrote a whole thing about how anybody who questions Seth Rich is crazy.
Of course, they do that. They make you look like you're a fool because it's a conspiracy theory. And you say conspiracy theory, conspiracy theorist, and you're a whack job.
Unsolved murder in the nation's capital turned into a conspiracy theory and then became a case study of how false news spreads. It underscores once again the problem of polarized politics and divided sources of information.
It's one big conspiracy theory.
Right, but just put it down on paper. Let's just look at look at real hard facts. Seth Rich was a Bernie Sanders supporter. Seth Rich was a patriot. Seth Rich, according to Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, which have not been proven to be liars,
never had to retract anything they printed.
They've never had to do that.
The story of Seth Rich's death is a story of how fake news spreads from websites and online forums like Reddit to primetime cable TV.
Another massive breaking news story. Explosive developments in the mysterious murder of former DNC staffer Seth Rich.
Early one morning last July, 27-year-old Rich was found fatally shot near his Washington, D.C. home. Politics had drawn the Omaha native to the city, and he was working at the Democratic National Committee when he died. The case is still unsolved. D.C. police theorize it was a botched robbery, the latest in a string of attacks in the neighborhood. As Rich's family and friends mourned, he became the subject of a baseless conspiracy theory. The claim was that he was the source of the DNC emails about the Hillary Clinton campaign that WikiLeaks released later that
he leaked stuff to him. There are consequences leaking stuff to WikiLeaks. Seth Rich was murdered at 4 o'clock in the morning, shot in the back. They said it was a botched robbery, but no one took anything from him, and there's never been anyone that's charged with it, and there's no suspects.
Private investigator says there is evidence to show Rich was communicating with WikiLeaks.
Last week, Fox's Washington station broadcast an interview with Fox News legal commentator Rod Wheeler.
You have sources at the FBI saying that there is information that could link Seth Rich to WikiLeaks?
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's confirmed.
For Trump ally Sean Hannity devoted a portion of his Fox show to the story, giving Wheeler a much bigger platform for his unsubstantiated claims.
With the totality of everything else that I found in this case, it's very consistent for a person with my experience to begin to think, well, perhaps there were some email communications between Seth and WikiLeaks.
Not even allowed to ask questions because I covered that story one day. I covered it one day because that guy Wheeler came out and he was saying he had all this. So I covered that.
Right, and you're a piece of shit.
And
you're a conspiracy theorist.
In that video I did, I literally said, I don't know if this is true. We're waiting for evidence. Unlike the mainstream news media with their Russia bullshit, we're going to wait for evidence.
DNC absolutely rigged the primary against Bernie Sanders. He was aware of this. He was there while this was all going down. So was Donna Brazile. Everyone was aware of it. The guy got fucking murdered after he leaked information to WikiLeaks. If you don't think that's a little weird, what are you looking at? What delusional rose-colored glasses are you looking at your party from? You think you're in some Julia Roberts movie from 1990? This is real shit. Some guy got killed. He was 24 years old. He was a young guy who was very optimistic and had this view of the world where the guy fucking wore American flag pants and shirt. There's a famous picture of him with a beer on. He's a patriot. In a lot of ways, he wanted to be involved in the political process. He was very idealistic. He was probably shattered by finding out that the party that he was working for was corrupting the democratic process. When it comes to politics, I have my opinions on things, but when it comes to things that are rock solid and clear, like that Seth Rich was murdered and people want to ignore it, I'm like, what the fuck do you think happened? There has to be some sort of a disconnect here. When a person is giving information to WikiLeaks that exposes corruption inside the very organization that's responsible for the fucking Democratic Party, and he gets murdered, and you're like, oh, the conspiracy theories. No, he got murdered. There's no conspiracy. It was a botched robbery. Says who? Says who? Where's his? How come his wallet was there? How come his watch was there? How come they didn't take his phone? What the fuck are you talking about that I'm a conspiracy theorist when I just tell you the facts? So and this WikiLeaks thing with Julian Assange is the craziest shit ever when he said there's consequences to sharing information with us.